Welcome everybody to our $1 Million Way program. And in this program, I will share with you $1 million secret that allow us to dominate the highly competitive digital currency market. With this method, I will show you a way to earn a salary of $10,000 to $1 million in the digital currency market. At this salary, we shall be able to build up our business in less than a year. And to get to know each other, I would like to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Brian, and I have had 5 years of experience in digital currency investment. 5 years ago, I owned my first Bitcoin, which was worth around $100. Since then, I already knew that the cryptocurrency market would be an extraordinary field for us to make money. I started doing some research on this market and have had invested in multiple digital currency market investing programs like HYIP, mining, lending, ICO, etc. After that, I have gained myself quite a lot of experiences. I set some rules, forced myself to follow them, and then, more than a year later, I became a millionaire. And today, I would be very happy to share some of my experiences in investing in digital currency to everyone here. The first thing I would like to share is that if you want to invest in anything, you need to take a look at its overview. And that's also the first thing I want you guys to know, the overview of financial models, recently distributed digital currencies in the world. Some models that we would discuss are HYIP, Ponzi, mining, and lending. These 4 models are attributed to the same category since they share one similar principle. Then, what is this principle? And what are some of its advantages and drawbacks? Let's find out together. Regarding its advantages, investment is super easy, and we don't really need any professional expertise to evaluate them. Companies that mobilize funds this way would predict the profit at the amount we invest in and how they are divided into packages. Then we would be able to know in advance how much interest we'll earn in the span of how many days. And of course, the returns can be extremely high. Yes, it might be start at 0.3, 0.5, 0.6, and even reach 1%, 1.5%, 2%, and many more after a few days. Our times is also fast, 1 month, 2 months, or maybe 3 months. Lots of alternative for us to decide to invest in. Each of these models give us different answers to where all those profits come from, right? The company would say that it is investing in a vital field, that it is investing in blockchains and mining, that it is building its trading system in order to gain huge profit to pay back its investor. Ladies and gentlemen, despite those many reasons, I can affirm that is nothing but a reason for us to believe in. There is no company, no mining or trading model that is so profitable that it could pay us that much profit. Why? Because I, myself, own both a mining company and a trading company. Yet, the interest of a mining company is only around 10% a month, while that of a trading company range from 15 to 20%, and risk is totally possible. When the market goes down, companies are likely to suffer losses. That is why I can assure everyone that whatever reason they have to trick people into investing in all nonsense, they have no rational basis for us to believe in. And even if we do, these drawbacks also prove that is a very risky investment. First of all, the company has a custody of all your money, which means the amounts we invest is possessed by that company. And then, come on Friday, you check the website, and all we see is a blank screen showing absolutely nothing. Or maybe a simple message stating the website is shut down, or we are under maintenance, with maintenance taking forever and shall never be back. It's easy to scam, and I can see that 99.99% of these models are scams. What's important here is its unfairness. This model follows the pyramid models, that is, new entrants back up the earlier investor. Money will be shifted from the bottom to the top of the pyramid. And who is at the top? It's the company, the top leaders. If we enter a bit later, we may lose our money. And if so, only the late entrants like us suffer losses, since previous participants have already recovered costs. They do marketing, they line at the top, and the company for sure lose nothing. Everyone will get money, and that's why it's called the pyramid model. It means that money is funneled to the top of the pyramid, and obviously, if lost, there's no way for us to take it back. The second one is the give and take model. MMM Global and many similar others are the prime example for this. It is one of the world's long-term programs, and it has some certain access as well as limitation. Firstly, the initial investment is relatively low. At the initial investment of around a few hundreds, we can now start investing. The turnover time is pretty fast. Over the previous of 15 to 30s or 45 days, we can get a 120 or 130% rate of return on investment. And if the turnover time is fast, our investment are much safer. And its returns are also extremely high. It may reach 1% to 2% per day, right? And the marketers will earn a lot of money. Another advantage is that among different models, the give and take model is the finance circle in which money belongs to the community. We only give the money away and take from others when told. It's within the society and is different from the pyramid models and I discussed before. Therefore, it creates equal opportunity for everyone involved in the society. These advantages are what have this model last for a really long while in the world. However, it also contains many drawbacks that can easily be seen. The problem is the admins can definitely scam the entire society by setting up accounts that only take but never give. This somehow turns its great disadvantage into something in which money is in no one's hands. It goes to neither the company nor its top leader. It's the admin's wrongdoing that leads to skepticism and distrust among the community members. The second disadvantage is the one I find the greatest. Just when everyone has lost their faith, they give our order and promise to give away. Yet, when it's time, they're nowhere to be found. Obviously, many will not be able to receive. They continue to lose trust and it's keep going that way. That means the community would collapse in no time. We can see that the give and take community depends a lot on members' trust, but they can totally decline anytime. Another huge downside is that we only need to use the capital once. We take it to these give and take programs. We give, then we take. We give, then take. With such capital, we can give and take 1,000 times. And so, you can see, we generate 1,000 times of interest, which actually creates a huge amount of pressures on the society. it leads to depletion and creates unstableness within the community. At all time, unless this community is inactive, it is impossible for us to know exactly how much money there is, how many people are willing to withdraw their money to support the community. We shall never know. And of course, there won't be any source of support either. When a community is experiencing a crisis of trust, no one wants to give their money to others. Obviously, once we give it away, there's no way to take it back. So the third models that we'll dive into is the trading model, the ICO model, and the DICO model. Three of which are among the hot issues in recent 1 or 2 years. Investing in trading, ICO, and DICO has some specific key points. When the market goes up and we find out a highly potential coin, we might earn a super profit. DICO model has this amazing advantage, that is, we could get a refund and take our money back if we feel unsure of its development. And that is a revolutionary advantage. And yet, with such an advantage, this model still has its own downsides. First of all, profits is completely unpredictable. We buy a coin, we buy an ICO, or we can trade a coin. We, at a time of withdrawal, know absolutely nothing about our profit beforehand. And to be able to invest in these models, we need some experience, we need some knowledge. We need some knowledge to trade. We need some experience to evaluate investment projects, ICOs or DICO, so that we would be able to know which is good and which is not. With such a drawback, investors are at serious risk. Of course, I'm talking about ICO, not trading, not DICO. When the company sells ICO, it gets the money and can even decide to abandon it for another. And with that, we get scammed easily. A lot of statistics show that 99% of ICO projects are scams. And the last drawback, which I believe to be the most important one, is that as early entrants to get to know every information first, they would benefit first. And the later buyers will be the ones who lose. I'll take a simple example. This company sells ICOs and you're the first one to know about it. You buy it at a very low price, let's say $0.1. And then the company pushes price up in the chronological order. If you're late, you have to pay it for 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, which means if you're the first one to know, you win. And the ones after you surely have some disadvantages. Well, I just have you guys. Now let's summarize the three models that have been around for the past few years. Like we can see, these models poses some great advantages. Can we earn money? Yes, we can. Can we be rich? Yes, we can. Yet, they also have many disadvantages that are unsolvable. Myself, despite investing in these models, have to admit that investing in them are incredibly risky. However, recently I have found out a new model, a model that has never existed before. I only knew about it after surfing the internet and saw an advertisement on it. I clicked on the ad, checked it, and did some research on this model. And then I realized it was a nearly perfect financial model. Until now, The moment I am standing here talking to you guys, I still haven't found any of its drawbacks. And today, we are going to study this model and compare it to others to see what it can do to overcome the downsides of previous financial models. It is called the Decentralized Community Fund of Financial System created by blockchains and smart contract. I am sure we all know what fund is, a place where we can donate our money, and since it's a community fund, anyone in the community can put their money in. The second concept is decentralized. This term, well, anyone who has invested in the digital currency market would know this. It means that all money is in no one's hands. Recently, the term decentralization, when Bitcoin just started to resonate, has become the trending topic in the financial community. It is because since ever before, the world's economies and the financial market as a whole, or most of the human's activities, have been based on the concept of centralization. That is, money or any sources of finance is in the hands of a certain organization, such as a country, a corporation, or an individual. It is the centralized management that has led to the lack of transparency and wrongdoings, which results in the collapse of the classical financial system in the world. Since the Bitcoin was born and operated on the decentralized principle, which means that now the power is not in the hands of anyone, but in the hands of the community. And the community is the one who determines the existence and development of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So this decentralized principle shows us a brand new management method of finance and many other areas. The decentralization completely eliminates factors such as the non-transparency or risk, which are shared equally with the whole community. Then this decentralized community fund is built on the principle of decentralization, and it does all that the decentralization does. Because this financial system is made up of blockchain technology, which is the platform technologies creating the Bitcoin. And smart contract is a platform technology that's create Ethereum. They are the top and the second currency in the world. The two fundamental technology platforms create the entire financial market and cryptocurrency market for our world today and in the future. Now, let's together find out which breakthrough this decentralized community fund will create in principle compared to previous financial models. After researching carefully on this model, I have summarized some of my personal comments about its outstanding features. And now, let's find out. Firstly, we will compare the outstanding features of this model with trust, Ponzi, mining, and lending. For a model like this, it is easy for the company who holds money to scam, and they follow the pyramid principle. It is not fair, and no one can get the money back. If we lose money, we will not be able to get back. This new model has overcome all the disadvantages of the other models. Firstly, instead of that, the company holds money, which is easy to scam. Now money is stored in smart contract on the blockchains. All of us who have invested and researched on Ethereum and smart contract know that when money is on smart contract, it cannot be tampered with, even if the admins who is the creator of the smart contract. It will work under the principle of smart contract, and at the same time, it cannot be hacked. If it cannot be hacked and tampered with, of course, it cannot be scammed. And the principle of this fund is not the pyramid one, but the principle of rotation waiting queue. Its principles is that the next person, for example, we are the next people. We support the community, deposits into the fund to support the community. We will be put in the status of waiting to queue up. And on the day we complete the support of the community, we will be moved to the status of waiting to receive. And after we receive, we are back and queue up behind the people who goes behind us. So what do we imagine? At first, I could be the first person, but then I became the next person. And so we can see that at first we are the recipients first. After that, we queue up in a bottom line. And it means that this is a fair principle. In case of loss, the same loss. In case of gain, the same gain. Because of the boundary, the distance between previous people and later people is faded away. You are the previous person, but after you receive the interest, you become the later. You are the next person, but the previous person who received the interest have to queue up behind you. You become the first. And it's good things we really like is that it has a mechanism to refund, and we can get the money back. In case we do not trust or do not want to continue to join, we can get money back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first financial platform in the world that we can get money back. This mechanism of refunding creates the great trust of participants in this model. The mechanism of refunding makes me feel secure when I invest in and contribute to this fund. Surely you will feel the same. And compare it to the model of give, receive. It is also great. Because it's overcome all the weaknesses of the model of give, receive, in which admin withdraws money from the community fund and does not accept the order set. Giving one but receiving thousands of times, do not know how much money the community has, no sources of relief, and not get money back. With the new model, the first thing that the admin withdraw money from the community is impossible. Because this model is operated by smart contract, the whole amount of money that we deposit is in smart contract. And it will work according to the mechanism that is set by the smart contract. And every transaction we can check, we can know whether it is transparent or not. We can check whether the accounts receiving the interest previously supported the community or not. Because everything is on the blockchain. We just need to check the hash codes to know it. And in this model, it never exists that order which are set are not adapted. This is impossible. Because completely all of us have to deposit and contribute to the fund. And this model does not completely relies on the community trust. And here's the maximum profits that we can earn from this model is 300%. This is not thousands or millions of times as the model of give, receive. And a profit margins of 300% is a really profitable level for us to invest. And whenever we want to check how much money the community fund has, we can do that immediately. Because the whole fund is on smart contract, being located on the blocks of ETH blockchain. And here this new model has a risk provisioning funds named DCF. And I would like to say to all of you this risk provisioning fund and as operating mechanisms are extremely great. This is a tremendous source of relief for this decentralized community funds when they face financial risks. And I also think this is the first financial model in the world owning a risk provisioning fund like a bank. The bank also has a risk provisioning fund, And that is the key to creating the sustainability of the bank and the global financial system and the decentralized community itself, which we are studying today. I have just analyzed this thing already. We can refund and we can get money back at any time of the process that we contribute to the fund. And with the final models of lending and ICO, which have many disadvantages such as unknown profit, experience and knowledge to evaluate the investment, scam of the company holding money, and the first participants will gain and the later will lose. We can see that with these new models, when we participate, we are profitable immediately. To contribute to the fund in this model, we do not need experience. We also do not need any knowledge to appraise anything. We'll join in that we have the profit, and we can know our profit before we invest. We know how many percent we receive and how many days we receive the interest, how many days we have to wait, and so on. Here we see clearly that the money is on the smart contract and cannot be scammed. Money is not in the hands of anyone. Powers belong to the community and is fair. It does not distinguish the first or later participants. You will not lose money. You will not be financially damaged just because you know this opportunity late. Maybe I know this opportunity before you a few days, a few months, even a few years. But it's already, but it's alright because you join after me. But I can totally be lined up behind you. And you can receive money before me. In case of loss, we lose the same. And in case of gain, we gain the same. It is extremely fair. And this is the reason we can solemnly declare that this is the model which represents a brand new trend in the cryptocurrency market. It's overcome all the shortcomings of all the investment models that the world has ever had. And welcome all of you to the new eras of HOPEBOOK, the most transparent financial system in the world. Now we'll study further about this model in order to find out how this model operates and what benefits we can achieve from this model. What I share below are posted on website hopebooks.io, so we can study more on website hopebook.io. We will find out who owns this kind of fund and which ecology this model belongs to. Ladies and gentlemen, this fund is created by Hope Group, a multinational organization which gathers those who has the desire to bring freedom to human beings. This organization focuses on building up the decentralized ecologies for everything, with the mission erase the centralization, bring transparency and power to the community. This organization gives an ecology including: first, decentralized community funds is HOPEBOOK that we have been studying so far. Second, the bank model is a decentralized bank, Hope Bank. Third, the decentralized casino is called Hope Life. National ID, Hope ID is the decentralized customer database management community. Decentralized insurance company, Hope Care. Decentralized exchange community, HOPEX. Decentralized altruistic community, DAC, HOPEMAN. Crowdsourcing system, crowdfunding, is called HOPEFund. We see that this ecology is too massive. It focuses on dealing with the most globally important financial platforms which will be decentralized by Hope Group in the future. We see the slogan decentralized everything means everything is decentralized. If we stop at this point, we see that Hope Group ecology is too huge. The DCF is the Decentralized Community Fund, is the first project that Hope Group makes for the world. And of course, I often give you a warning message before any financial investment program. With a financial investment, especially with financial cryptocurrency investment, there will have no guarantee of your finance. In general, you can lose all your money, and you must always remember this point. Hence, You engage in this community by your spare money, or you don't engage in. Especially in this model, no one is the owner, no one is the leader, and no one is responsible for this fund and for this community, because all of the money is stored on blockchains and is locked by smart contract. Hence, all of us are the owners of this community, and we must be fully aware of this. Hope Group is not the owner of this project too. Each of us is the owner of this project. We give a recommendation, or we forbid strictly to the viewers who watch this video not to use a loan to join this community, because you will be responsible for any of your financial loss. We must be intelligent investor. We must keep control of our investment and get profit. Now we will analyze to the problem to find out how how to earn the profit. So, what inspired Hope Group to create this community fund Hopebook? There are three things inspire them: the Federal Reserve System, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, DAO, and Ethereum Smart Contract System. The way that the Federal Reserve System control and regulate the worldwide economy, and the way it provides financial service to the United States economies when it underwent a financial crisis. The way that DAOs bring justice and empower community radically. And the solution that changes the way people are bonding each other is completely eliminating the belief and suspicions of Ethereum smart contract system. With that inspiration, Hope Group has created a self-reliant financial fund system that utilizes efficient cash flow by using smart contract technology as its fundamental foundation, which provides community members with large income enough and creates a huge economy's value chains for the community. Then let's find out, what is Hopebook? First, Hopebook is not a bank, as it does not charge anyone. Second, it is not a company, since it does not have a boss. It's not an organization, because there is no head who earn profit from all. It is not an investment trust model, MMM models, lending models, ICO model. It's not a model that has ever existed in the world so far. It is called Decentralized Community Fund. It provides a distributed platform based on blockchain technology and smart contract, which have millions of people join and ready to do two tasks. The first task is to support community and to receive the community support directly with the intermediaries, or the principle of waiting queues. And the system only plays a role in calculating and balancing the stability of the fund. And when we register with Hopebook, we only need information such as email address, ETH address created on my Ether wallet. Let me note here that the Hopebook works perfectly on my Ether wallet. The currency that is used to fund is ETH, and all the information we register is not identical to other accounts. Each registration's information is only registered for one account. And after we finish registering, we will have the username, we have the password, and at this time, we will be called account P, beginning account for a new member, for newbies. Then, when we contribute funds, how is the funding process? How is the process that we fund and earn the profits and get support? When we participate in this decentralized community fund, we have only two tasks. These are to support community and receive community support. So, how is the process of depositing and receiving from the fund? This is how it happens. First, we deposit ETH. We will use the register account on the website to deposit to the community fund. After depositing to the fund, that amount of money will be locked and held on smart contract. And for new participants, the minimum amount is 0.2 ETH and the maximum is 2 ETH. Then, will be in the queue for a support waiting time. This could be from 1 day to 30 days with a fixed interest, which has been told you before you deposit. The range of interest is from 0.1% to 1% per day. On the last day of our waiting period, our deposited money will be automatically sent to other people who need support from us. So who are they? Firstly, they are the previous supporters who supported our community already. Now they become the receivers. Secondly, they are people who receive trust commission, which is a kind of commission paying for those who spend time and other resources to build up the community. And transaction fee will cost only 1%. After we support community, your G wallet will display your receiving amount of money. Each equal weight day support multiple fixed for shows interest. Then we will have to wait for another periods in order to receive that amount of money. We call this time receiving waiting time. Don't worry, during this time, you still have your interest counting with the range from 0.1% to 1% and 1 day to 30 days. On the day of our receiving, the system will automatically gather from other supporters to send to us, now becoming receiver. Our first deposit, as known as our capital now, has been automatically sent back to the community fund to continue its next round of support. The display interest in our G wallets will be directly transferred to our ET8 wallet with no required action. Let me draw your attention to the automation of all this progress. We don't have to take any actions and we can't interfere with this progress. It may sound a bit complicated, but what we have to do is very simple. We just need to deposit with all four shows information about the number of waiting days and interest for this round. The maximum rate we can get on total fund contribution is 300%. I show you a specific example that if we support the community with 1 ET8, then we could receive back maximum 3 ET8. And then when we receive 3 ET8 back already, our first deposits, our first 1 ET8 will be mixed with the community fund. Then it's supposed to be the end of a supporting round for community, and we get 3 times what we invested. And we can estimate profit and payback time when we invest in this community fund. And let me keep telling you a specific example. Pretend that in the first round, we deposit 1 ET8 into the system, and we will know how many days we will have to wait and how many percentage of interest will we receive every day. For example, our support waiting time will be 20 days and we get 1% of interest every day. And the receive waiting time will be 15 days and we get 0.8% per day. Then all waiting time since we deposit until we first receive interest is 35 days. On the days of receiving, we will receive 0.2 ET8. Why? Because in the first round, receiving waiting time will not be counted, but only support waiting time. So that interest is the interest for first support waiting time only. And here we got 1% per day for 20 days. So there are 20% for 20 days. That's why we got 0.2 ET8. And with that 0.2 ETA divided by the amount of waiting days, then we know our net interest is 0.57%. Our 1 ETA will automatically be redeposited to support community. Then we keep receiving interest for the second round. This round takes 27 days of waiting with 0.9% per day as the parameters for supported waiting time. And with receive waiting time, we have to wait for 1 day only with 1% per day. So our total waiting time in this round is 28 days. This time, we will receive interest from last round received waiting time, which was 0.8% per day for 15 days. And interest from this round supports waiting time, which is 0.9% for 27 days. Then we will get 0.363 ETH in total. This time, our net interest is 1.3% per day. Then the system keeps going with our first deposits, aka our capitals, to read deposits to support the community with our 3, 4, 5, and more than that until we receive 3 ETH in total. That is the maximum amount that we could receive from the community. When we receive 3 ETH, our capital will be mixed with community fund and we finish our missions. We finish our mission, which is support community. To summarize, the fluctuation of the interest is from 0.2% to 2% per day. It's equal 6% to 60% per month. And on average, it's around 1.2% per day to 36% per month. If we're lucky enough with 2% per day for every day, our payback time will be 50 days only. In the worst case, take like 500 days for our payback with only, 0.2% per day, which is rarely happened. On average, payback time is 83 days for everyone. The maximum rate we can get on total fund contribution is 300%. Now, there has been a raising question. Then based on what principle does the system decide supporting waiting time as well as the receive waiting time as well as the profit? Support waiting time, receive waiting time, and interest rate are entirely depending on the amount of input and output of the fund. If the input is big and the output is small, we will have short waiting time and big profit. But if the input is small and the output is big, we will have a long waiting periods and the small profit. But no matter how long the waiting times is and how big the profit is, maximum of what we could get is 300%. We earn 3 times what we supported. The potentiality of what we could earn when we invest into this whole book will be shown here in this table. When we new to whole book, we stop at first credibility level is B. And as we get involved in the community development process, our credibility levels will rise to P1, P2, P3, and P8 as the maximum. For every level of credibility, we will have different minimums and the maximum amounts for supporting the community. For example, at P level of credibility, we'll get the minimum amount of deposits is 0.2 ETH and the maximum is 2 ETH. When you're at P1, your new minimum amount of deposits is 2 ETH and the maximum is 4 ETH, etc. Until you reach P8, your minimums will be 256 ETH and the maximum will be 512 ETH. The higher credibility levels, the more amount of money you can support the community, and the support for this community will be calculated on the cumulative principle, and if you deposit less than the minimums or more than the maximum, you will not count towards the support round. The excess or insufficient parts will not be included in the support part to be in a support round. For example, when you are level P and you deposit 0.1 ETH, then your 0.1 ETH will be in the remaining state and you have to deposit more, a minimum of 0.1 ETH to get 0.2 ETH. Then it will be included in the support round. Your interests start to be counted and you can get benefit. For instance, if you're still at P levels that you deposit into 3 ETHs, it is more than 2 ETHs compared to the maximum levels of community support for P level. Then there will be 2 ETHs put into the support rounds and 1 ETH will be in the remaining state. And of course, as you support the community, the more your community will support you, the bigger you will get. And according to your credibility levels, the maximum you receive within 30 days will increase correspondingly. For example, at P level, you will receive 3 Ether. That number at P1 is 6, at P2 is 12, then 24, 48, 96, and at P8, the highest amounts you could maximum receive is 768 Ether per month. The maximum receiving amounts will be calculated on the calendar and follow international times as GMT +0. With a table showing the community support limitations and receiving community support like this, we could easily see that our potential income can be as high as 512 Ether a month. When we go up to P8 level, let's say we support the community with a minimum of 256 Ether, and the maximum we get is 768 Ether. Subtracting these two numbers for each other, we will have 512 Ether a month, and with 512 Ether per month at the current Ether rate, it will be in the range of $400,000 and $500,000. So our $1 million ways is absolute possible. You reach P8 and you earn $500,000 per month. So 2 months you got 1 million. And to those who have good marketing skills, how to make it possible for us to be P8? In this video's time limits, I will not be able to share it with you. Contact people who refer you this whole book to ask them how to raise your credibility level to P8. If we could not reach P8, we are at P4 level, we will still have 32 Ether per month. At P5, we have 64 Ether per month. And if we cannot afford marketing, we are at P level, we can earn 2 to 3 Ether per month, right? With a maximum profit margins of 300%, any one of us can see, experienced investor can see, that this fund does not invest its money anywhere to make a profit. It's totally based on the amount of community supporters. Then there will be one day this one will run out of money. So are there any possible additional contribution to the fund so that we can always reassure the community we invest in or not? Dear my friends, Hobok created a community fund certificate named DCF. And this fund certificate is a great way to make the fund sustainable. And let's get to know what this community fund certificate is all about. This DCF community fund certificate is a token of Ethereum. It's used on the basis of Ethereum in the amount of 500 million DCF. This DCF fund certificate represents the growth, development of the Hobok community and the interests of community investor. Investor who join the Hobok community and hold the DCF token will have 2 great benefits. The first one is a 3% profit sharing on the total weekly growth of the fund. And secondly, investor from P5 and upper level who buy DCF will share 5% of developers' earning weekly. So what are the interests of investors who have not joined the Hobok community while holding DCF? Of course, if they did not join, then they could not get to P5. Therefore, they will only receive 3% profit sharing on the total weekly growth of the fund. So, what can you see? We only need to buy DCF, then put it in our Ether wallet. We will get weekly return paid by Ether. Pay properly to the wallet that we store DCF. And we'll see that when we buy this token, it's a lot better than buying an ICO, so we get bounty or airdrop items. Because of bounty or airdrops, the rewards we receive here only the token. And that would be just to buy the token at a cheaper price. But here, when we buy DCF and put it in our wallet, then we get Ether every week. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's much more valuable. This profit is calculated on the share of DCF hold of the investor over the total DCF issued at the closing time. So the sooner DCF owns the investor, the better. It is completely different from existing ICO or DICO projects. This HOBOK Community Fund is a platform which is completed, it is operating, and it is accelerating its rapid growth. It is not a project, it's not a promise, it's not a future, it is the reality. We buy DCF, put it in our wallet, and get Ether every week. It's very attractive, isn't it? And ladies and gentlemen, when the DCF website is open for sales, I will buy it immediately. What's happier than getting paid by Ethereums every week? That's awesome. Can we see the growth of this fund? We can completely see by checking the hash code of the fund. We can absolutely check it anytime and we can know in advance. And after watching this video, please go to the HOBOK website and check it out. Let's look at the growth of this HOBOK fund. And if we see that it's growing well, then we buy DCF. We see it's grow poorly, then we do not buy. Is this right? It's very transparent and clear when we have HOBOK Risk Provisioning Fund, and when this token is distributed to the public, how will it be distributed? Ladies and gentlemen, out of a total of 500 million DCF issues, 30% will be placed in HOBOK Community Risk Provisioning Fund, and this 30% will be transferred directly into the HOBOK Fund when it is about to run out. At this point, 30% of the Risk Provisioning Fund is used as a tool to balance the fund. And as DCF will be released, 69% of it will be sold to the public. The money HOBOK can get by selling 69% of the DCF will not be all spent. That's the difference from other ICOs or DICO projects. 79% of this amount will be donated to the HOBOK Fund. And so, we see that the HOBOK Fund will receive a tremendous contribution from raising funds from the sales of this DCF token. And who would benefit? Benefits to the community. Who else would benefit? Benefits to DCF owners. 20% of this capital is used for marketing. Who would benefit when we do marketing? Marketing is, of course, good for the community. So, to sum up, we can see that DCF has three main effects. First, 30% DCF will be locked in smart contract and Risk Provisioning Fund, and this fund will be transferred to rescue the HOBOK Community Fund when needed. The second is that 79% of the DCF sales will be used to make a non-refundable contribution to the HOBOK and will give the HOBOK immediately support. Third, 20% of the DCF sales are used for marketing and community development purpose. So, when the HOBOK funds lose its balance, how will the system use this Risk Provisioning Fund? Here we see there are two charts. The first is the chart assumes growth and recessions of the HOBOK funds if there is no reserve fund. And the chart assumes the values growth of the DCF fund certificate. Let me re-emphasize that all assumptions here are just assumptions. It will not be certain realistic because no one knows what the future will be. Then we will see in the first chart, from the first quarter to the fifth quarter, we see that HOBOK developed rapidly. Yes, of course, because of its initial time. But to fourth quarters and fifth quarters, after about financial years, the fund begins to show signs of declines. Why? Because after 1 year of the marketing systems started to stagnate, with the 300% interest payouts, the fund will naturally goes into recession. And at the same time, the values of DCF token is not as great as at the beginning stage, but that goes together with the development process of the fund. Of course, the price of DCF token will increase. Why is it increasing? It is so simple that all DCF buyers who put it in their wallet will receive Ethereum payment regularly. They have less motivation to sell than to buy more DCF. And if the motivation to sell DCF is smaller than to buy more, the price will rise for sure. Then, at the fourth and fifth quarters, when the community fund grows to its peak, the value of the DCF token will reach its peaks as well. Then when is perfect time to transfer a part of the DCF sales to rescue the community? That was the beginnings of the recession. It will not be the time of the funds peak, nor it is the 10th quarters when the funds has run out of money. And it will be at the time of the recession, at about 5th quarter. Then how is the system transfer funds to risk provisioning fund? Then I can describe as below. At the 4th quarter, when there is no declines in the fund, of course, the funds input is 100% by Ether and the funds output is also 100% by Ether. But by the 5th quarter, when the risk provisioning funds is put into use, the system will automatically open a new input port with DCF input, 100% of the inputs by DCF. And so, investor can choose whether to deposit to the fund by Ether or by DCF, but the output of the fund will be 90% by Ether and 10% by DCF. We will analyze this point, an extremely intelligent point. What is that? If the fund's immediate output is 100% DCF at the time of funds transfer, it is clear that the selling force of DCF will be extremely large and it will pull the DCF price down. But here, system choose a solution that the fund's output is 90% by Ethereum and 10% by DCF. Then I would like to ask you questions. If you're a member of the community at that time, what would you choose to deposit to the fund? Of course, by DCF, right? We deposit 100% by DCF, but only 10% out. It means if you want to deposit, you have to buy DCF, then you have to sell DCF, so we can get the tuition fee for our children. And it means the buying force will always greater than the selling force. And it means that the price of DCF will even show signs of increasing when the risk provisioning fund is transferred into the HOBOK fund. In this very clear ways, the price of DCF is not only stable but also increased. And so it creates great stability for the price of DCF. By the time of quarter 6, we will see that its output will gradually increase as ETH ratio drops to 90% and DCF ratio will increase to 20%. And in the 7th quarters, the DCF ratio will keep the increase to 30%. And so on until the total output of the fund is DCF. So we will see that by transferring DCF sales to the risk provisioning fund to rescue the HOBOK community is a gradual action. And because of this gradual action, it creates the next growth of the HOBOK. And we see here a chart of assumption of growth and degradation of HOBOK funds when CRF and DCF reserve are supplemented into HOBOK fund. It is down to a drop after supplementation. It will continue to go up. And how about the values of the DCF token? It will be slightly down a bit, then it will maintain a stability. So what economic dialectic to the creators of this community have they come up with such a strategy? Ladies and gentlemen, these economic dialectics are based on the ways the U.S. Federal Reserve System works as it saves the U.S. economies as well as the world's economy. It is very clear that the world economy in a normal state when there is no war will be in crisis one every 18 to 20 years. Except for World War II, because at that time, the world's economy has dropped to the bottom. So there was 44 years that it was not in that 18 to 20 years cycle. So what did the US Federal Reserve System do? Very simple, I would like to introduce here the M2 money supply chart of FED. This chart shows the time of money printing, and the next chart is about the growth and development of the economy. We will see that there is a coincidence on purpose. You see, all the important times when printing more money, it coincides with the circle of crisis, the economic downturn. Then we see the way the US Federal Reserve System deal with the crisis is actually quite simple. What is this? When there is the crisis, they will print more money to supplement the economies, and then the economy will recover. Very simple, right? And that is these things from 1960 until now. Yeah, since 1960 until now. And the method to rescue the financial system when the crisis was applying to the world's first decentralized community, Hopebook. And this principle promised a very sustainable growth of Hopebook Community Fund. Someone may ask, what will happen when transfer the DCF is finished, then the fund goes down again? The simple answer is that they continue to do the same thing as before. At the time of DCF transfer, they are continuing to create a second token, and again use that token as the second certificate of the fund, and again keep pushing its price to go up, and again continues to use when the funds goes down, and it goes on like that forever. The growth charts of the Hopebook funds would be a sin-shaped chart. It will go up and down again, and then go up again, and keep going up and down again forever and never stop. Just like the way the world's economy works. Growth and then recession, growth and recession never stops. And now, I'm quite confident to tell you my recognition that this will be a financial arenas with the longest potential in the world. Because all this activity followed the ways the world economy works apply smoothly in the Hopebook community. And the Hopebook shows us the input and the output of the funds transparently. We take a symbolic image that this fund is like a bucket of water, and the water inside the tank is money, and that community supports. What is the input of this fund? These are new supporters, right? Those are the ones that automatically deposit. All of you, my friend, please remember, when we support the community one Ether, we take profit, then our original Ether is recontributed. When we reach the new credibility level, we will have to contribute more to the fund. Of course, when we deposit more, we will get more. Then the non-refundable donation from the sales of DCF. Let's remember, 69% of DCF sales, and 79% of that amount will be donated to the Hopebook community. And the BRICS provisioning funds, which is about 30% of DCF, will be used to support the fund when a problem arises. Then what is the output of the fund? We will have 4 outputs. First, it is statistics commissions plus trust commission, which is 300% a month. The second is a direct commission, which is 10%. And the third is DCF's 3% return paid to investor holding DCF in their wallets. The last one is the transaction fees of 1%. And we will see here that this fund has a regulated output value. The profits range from 0.2% to 2% per day, averaging 6% to 60% a month, and a waiting period of 2 days to 60 days. And we will see that the system will turn the valves, adjust the interest, and adjust the number of waiting days. When the amount of input is less than the output, then the valve will be tightened. The interest is reduced to wait days are stressed out. If the input is much more than the output, then the valves will be expanded. And when the fund is depreciated, the risk provisioning funds will be transferred directly into the fund. As we all know, the Hopebook community will be rescued by a larger community that is the community of trading. Because of this, provisioning funds were created by the DCF, and DCF is traded by the outside trading community. Let me ask you, which one is larger, trading community or Hopebook community? Of course, the trading community is larger and bigger, and that means they bring more money from a larger community to support a smaller one. This is extremely intelligent and feasible. And this is good for both large and small community. When the small community is supported, it will support back to the larger community, pushing the price of DCF up. And so it is mutually beneficial. And in my life, I have never seen a financial model that is so attractive. There is no financial model which can tell us when its collapse time will be and how to solve it. I really admire those who have devised this model. They must have a strong mindset of an economic strategist who's on par with the world's leading economists. So they could be able to devise a model like this. I admire them. I admire this model. So I decided that I will have a big investment in the HOBOK Community Fund. HOBOK is not over yet. This is the last great thing that I want to tell you. At any time during the fundraising process, that all members have the right to vote for a refund, and the voting price will be calculated based on the amount of funds contributed by that member. The greater the contribution of the fund, the greater a voting right. If more than 51% of the votes are refunded, the total amounts of the contribution will be automatically returned to members' wallets based on the correct contribution rate. The amounts will not be refunded are 10% direct commission, 1% transaction fee, 3% of DCF fund certificates, and trust commissions. This is a natural thing. Each account has only one times refund opportunity. Yeah, you have only one chance to press that button. Have you ever seen the financial arenas that can be refunded? Except for DICO and HOBOK model. Because of this provision, it has created the ultimate transparency for this model. At this point, I have not seen and found any weak point of this model. To summarize, we see a decentralized community fund model which is fair to everyone. Money is not in everyone's hand, never afraid to be scammed, is absolutely transparent. There is no interference but can be refunded at any time. Moreover, with the profit margins of 300%, I find that this is a perfect financial model until now. I wish all of you who listen to this video, thanks to these HOBOK models, we will have the opportunity to have the wealth for ourselves and our family. Along with HOBOK, we will conquer the $1 million way. Together we can achieve our financial goals. Thank you and see you, my friend, in the next video. Thank you.